Hello and welcome to Talk About Strange. Thank you for joining me here today. Today is Friday, August 8th. I'm trying to get caught up on some videos and get them shared out with you today and tomorrow. And then Sunday, don't forget, we're going to be having a live show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope to see you there. I should have mentioned that on the other two videos I recorded, but I didn't anyway. But you can tell all of them about it, all right? I got some stories here I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share, there's, I think, 2 or 3 of them, shorter stories in this video. So sit back and enjoy. All right, let's go ahead and get started. This one comes in from Linda L. Hello, Steve. I became a member of your channel not too long ago, maybe a month or so. I have become obsessed with Bigfoot since last fall. I was on my way home from a call. I am the only rural cab driver in the area. I was passing by the bush and a huge field just a country block from my home when I saw this huge black blob about 5 foot tall sitting in the back corner of the field. It wasn't something that was normal that I'd ever seen before. I pride myself in never missing anything as I am a bit OCD. I took out my camera and looked through the view as I tried to magnify what I saw. I had seen deer in that corner several times, so it was something perhaps that had gotten killed. But unfortunately, it just made it more blurry. I was quite excited to think that there was a Bigfoot in our hood. This spring, I was at the same corner in front of me about 100 yards. I saw a black head and shoulders of another, maybe the same Bigfoot. The road dips in a bit of a gully area, enough to hide the height of the Klansman. Only, as I stated, its head and shoulders were showing. I was afraid to drive towards it, but again, I was totally fascinated to have seen another one. I waited until the next day to see if I could see any traces of any tracks. What I saw in the long grass was a swath of grass laid down at such a width that nothing else could have stepped there. What with that size? It laid down the grass leading to the little gully was approximately 8 inches in width. There are no bears in my area. There are only coyotes, skunks, raccoons, possums, rats, mice, but nothing that could lay down such a swath of grass. I have watched all kinds of Bigfoot stories on the YouTube channels, enough to not want to come face to face with one. Since over 800 souls, hikers, and others have disappeared, I would like to meet one in a different time, as they would have some great stories and history to tell us. But that's not reality. You said on your podcast I watched on your show this evening that no story would be too small or unexciting to tell you. Your stories from Claire and other hybrids are fascinating and informative. I am so glad I found your podcast. Keep up the great work. A member of your TAS family, Linda L. Thanks, Linda. I really appreciate that. And you are absolutely right. All stories deserve to be shared and talked about. This is how we learn all the different types of stuff. There's always information within these, even the smallest of stories. So if you have a story you want to share, send it in and we'll share it. That's really neat. Let us know if you get anything else, especially if you can get any pictures to share with us. We'd really appreciate that. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to move on to some other stories from here. Thank you again. Let's keep going. Okay, this one comes in from Bill. And Bill also sent us some pictures. I'm getting a little bit tight on time here, so I'll probably do this one. And then I'm going to have to get going, but I'll be back. Okay, here we go. Hi, Steve. My name is Bill Klingensmith. I stumbled across your channel and felt that I'm not so alone in experiencing Bigfoot sightings. I'm 55 and an avid outdoorsman and am considered the next Grizzly Adams because of just the way wildlife is friendly with me. It was around 1998, sitting having a picnic off Salmon Falls River with now ex-wife and best friend at the time. We were only 250, maybe 300 yards from my house. We were there for a couple of hours just having a good time and enjoying the seclusion of the off-beaten path that I had made. It was just about dark when we got up to head back when the 3 of us noticed a big shadow just off the trail. My ex and friend was in panic. I stayed calm, keeping things normal and composed. I told them to just keep walking like there was nothing there. They thought it was a black bear. I said, no, it's too big for a black bear. They sped up while I stayed behind because I was curious. I said to myself, if it's a bear, that would be normal. I just wanted to check things out. I saw the figure of a reddish-brown, hairy figure stand from a sitting position, standing between 8 to 9 feet tall. Young, I thought. I was in awe. It looked like a female. I just stood there. Then her green eyes locked onto mine, and it gave me chills. I had to remember to breathe. She decided to step out onto the trail. All I could do was smile. I was just amazed. And I got a smile back. She walked off down to the bog area where I hurried back to the house. I knew what I had saw, and I looked it up. I found a lot of bull cookies and skeptical truth. I was reading Genesis from the Bible, chapter 25. It mentions Esau. He was born like Bigfoot, reddish brown hair all over, rough complexion, not smooth like his brother Jacob. Our world hides the truth. They, the religious heads to the government, telling same lies to us since the fall of Adam and Eve. I now live alone in Hudson, Maine, above Bangor. I've heard and seen tracks of Bigfoots. I don't consider them to be Bigfoot or cryptid. I think they are just as human. I'm sure they are sick of some of the things that we do. Laugh out loud. I'm sure they are. I have other stories, but I hope to run into another and sit with him or her for a while. The story of Wendy and Claire are magnificent. So is your show, Steve. Thank you very much for reading and taking your time. Godspeed, and I hope your cold is just about done. Take good care, Bill. Thanks, Bill. And my cold is done, long done. I'm sorry it took a while to get to this, but I really appreciate you sending it in. It's a really good story. He's got a quick little part too. It's another story that's not a Bigfoot story, but he wanted to share it with us, so I'm going to go ahead and share that. And this is story number 2. All right, I said thank you. He said, you're welcome, Steve. All right, I have another experience, but not related to Bigfoot. It was the end of summer, heading into September. Okay, I was a floor crew supervisor catching up on some work at the Sprague Electric where they made computer chips on a weekend in the executive wing away from the main area. I was alone, stripping the tile floor in the men's bathroom. To do the edges, you use a product called jackhammer. It wasn't the environmental friendly stuff. As soon as it hits, whatever sprays for that edges, it takes everything down to the pores of the tile. When I went to pop the top off another aerosol can, it exploded in my eyes. Holy crap, that's not good. The pain was ridiculous and I was freaking out. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my left shoulder and I was instantly calm. No words said. I was crying in pain, and the hand led me out of the bathroom where I was working, leading me down the hallway through a set of double doors. As I entered a room, I could hear water running, and the hand led my face to the water. I proceeded to wash my eyes and flush them the best I could. I tried opening my eyes, and to the right of me, about 10 foot away, is where he stood. It was Jesus. Yes. That's who I plainly saw. I continued to wash again, only for a moment, then noticed the water spilling onto the floor. Looking right again to say thank you, but he was gone. I was in the QAR lab. I knelt in the water and started to cry so hard. At first, I had a hard time grasping what had just happened. I cleaned up the mess in the lab and took a walk around the building looking for anyone. In my mind, just in case I was losing my noodle, there was no one there but the guard at the guard check. I never had to go back to that hospital, I never had to go to the hospital. I finished the job that day. I was 23, now I'm 55. I wanted people to know that he is real. So now it's like I can see right through someone's soul, and I know their sin just by looking in their eyes. It's strange. It's weird. Sure, we can read the Bible, say what we believe, but most really don't understand the gravity of what they do day to day. I know all the government has tried to hide facts of history, just like the Bigfoot legend that we know is real. The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 25 through 29, and probably more, it describes Azu, Jacob's brother, born hairy with reddish brown hair, rough looking. He was a hunter and loved the outdoors. So genetics are really at play, and partly due to the fallen who created the Nephilim, which gives Bigfoot the height and build. But I had to get that off my chest for once. Now the plant is no longer there, and there's a dealership there. It's too bad. I kind of wanted to go back and revisit that place. Oh well, laugh out loud. Thanks for reading this, and I look forward to more of your content. Much love from Maine, Bill. Bill, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I really appreciate it. Both of those stories are phenomenal stories. And any of those spiritual stories, I know people really enjoy them. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that and appreciate that. It sounds like a miracle, just a miracle that you didn't go completely blind, that it didn't just melt your retinas off your eyes. I mean, just that could have been a terrible situation. Anyway, you hear about those kind of miracles every now and then. And what a phenomenal Bigfoot encounter, too. If you have any more other stories you want to share with us about that, please do. Feel free to. That's it for now. I have to take off here. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you, and I will see you again really soon.